class. All right, empty class again. So we're going to do example 3, 5.6, and it's a lot of stuff that we've done already, and we're just going to go ahead and start plugging stuff into what we already know and do it the same way that we have been doing. So first thing, we are given this, which is a single angle, so I could use my x, y, and r. So cosine is x over r, so it's a 2. My y is I don't know yet, and r is 3. And looking at this, let's go through and do the Pythagorean theorem to find my missing y value, which is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So in this case I have 2 squared plus y squared equals 3 squared. 4 plus y squared is 9. Subtract 4. Y squared is 5. Y equals plus or minus the square root of 5. Now, I'm going to look at this right here. And so in between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi, that's going to be quadrant 4. And in quadrant 4, my y value is going to be negative. So that's going to give me the y of negative, we're at 5. So now from here, we just need to go ahead and plug in, define half-angle cosine, half-angle sine, half-angle tangent. Let's go. Now I'm going to back up to my formulas right here, and I only have one formula for cosine, I only have one formula for sine. So let's go ahead and plug these in. And let's see, so starting with the cosine, 1 plus cosine A over 2. And let's take a look. So a couple things that I'm going to look at. So if S is in this area right here, the half angle is going to be important to understand. So, and that's going to deal with this plus and minus right now. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. And we said my angle is between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. So this is my angle S. So all the way to here, somewhere in here. This is going to be my angle S. But then half of that angle means it's going to go half the distance. So this is one thing that you have to know about half angles, where it's going to end up becoming. So half of this, no matter what, if it's between here and here, it's going to end up with here and here. So since it's going to be the half angle here, it's going to flip to be over here in quadrant 2 for my half angle. Because S is my whole angle, and my whole angle divided by 2 is going to give me something in quadrant 2. Now go ahead and start plugging in. So I'm going to get cosine is going to be a negative in quadrant 2, square root 1 plus cosine, which is 2 over 3 over 2. I'm going to keep going, so it's gonna be still negative. It is 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3 divided by 2. And keep going with that. Combine like terms on top, so it's gonna give me negative radical 5 over 5 over 3 divided by 2. And I'm going to treat this like a fraction over fraction. And do the Pac-Man thing where it come out this side. So I'm going to get my negative inside the radical, and I have a 5 over 3. Now reciprocal of the bottom because I have fraction over fraction, and so it's going to be times 1 over 2, which is going to leave me with negative square root of 1 over 6. Well, I'm sorry, not 1. Sorry about that. My fat head's in the way, so I can't read it. So 1 times 5 is 5 over 3 times 2 is 6. There we go, and then we could separate it out. So by rationalizing, it is negative radical 5 over radical 6, and square root of 6 over square root of 6 is going to give me negative square root of 30 over 6. So this is just for my cosine. So it looks like a lot of steps, but I'm trying to go step by step so we're not losing any items or skipping any steps, because this is a process, so you don't lose anything. All right, so we got the cosine out of the way. The next one's going to be the sine. So the next one's supposed to be sine of a over 2. And go back to my formula. There you go, sine. And this one's going to be 1 minus cosine a over 2. And in this case right here, same thing goes, that my half angle is going to end up in quadrant 2. So since the half angle ends up in quadrant 2, I know that the y value has to be positive. So let's go ahead and start plugging in step by step. It's going to be a positive square root 1 minus, now cosine was 3 over, I'm sorry, 2. I'm on 2 over 3, because this is my y, I'm sorry, my x over my r again, because this is cosine. And yes, this is correct because I am finding sine, but I'm plugging in cosine. That's part of my formula for this, and that's why it always works. So again, keep going, and it's going to be 3 over 3 minus 2 over 3 divided by 2. So I get square root of 1 over 3 divided by 2. And again, fraction over fraction. Here, make that a little bit better so we can see that. There we go. So square root of 1 over 3 times the reciprocal of the bottom, which is 1 over 2, is going to give me square root of 1 over 6. And that breaks down into the square root of 1 over square root of 6. And square root of 1 is just going to be 1, but I still have to rationalize. Still going to rationalize. So that's going to be square root of 6 over square root of 6. And so on top, I end up just getting positive. Give me a second. My pen stopped working. All right, there we go. So positive radical 6 over 6. That one's the steps for the sine the half angle. And now we're going to look at the cosine. Not the cosine, the tangent, I'm sorry. So let's see, we are looking for, it says right here, find cosine, half angle, sine, half angle, and tangent of half angle. And tangent is y over x. So x was 2, y is negative radical 5, r is 3, and tangent of a over 2 is equal to, now this is another one. I don't want to use radicals because those are a mess. So I get to choose which one I want. And I choose this last one here. I'm going to choose this last one here. Actually, no, because sine is radical 5, negative radical 5. I don't want to put that on the bottom. So, yeah, that means I am going to use this other one. I'm using this one right here. Because if I use sine on the bottom, it's negative rad 5 over 3, which is going to end up right there, and it's on the bottom of my fraction. Where cosine is 2 over 3, and I'm not going to have a problem. I'm not going to have a fraction over fraction. So, okay, I'll use this one. Sine 1 plus cosine. There we go. So we're using this formula here, and so let's go ahead and start plugging in, and it's going to be sine of A is negative radical 5 over 3 divided by 1, but you know what, I'm going to change this one. I'm not going to do the 1 yet. So cosine of A is going to be 2 over 3, then now I'm going to bring down my 1. But instead of the 1, I'm going to write 3 over 3, because 3 divided by 3 is 1, and it saves me a step. Why not? So add across the numerator, add across the denominator. Numerator doesn't have anything, so I still have negative rad 5 over 3 divided by, now they're common denominator, so now I can put them together. So it's going to be 5 over 3. And again, there's my fraction over fraction. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So that's going to be negative rad 5 over 3 times the reciprocal, the bottom, which is 3 over 5. And cancel those. So I'm left with negative rad 5 over 5 as my final answer. Hopefully this does make sense and you're able to understand and follow. We will be finishing this on, I see you Wednesday, I think? Yeah, Wednesday. We'll do example 4 and 5 on Wednesday. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification button, and yeah, buy stuff from my merch store.